In the heart of a modern city that never slept, where traffic lights glowed like restless stars and the hum of life never dimmed, two strangers crossed paths in a way that would forever change them. Mia Carter was a young woman who had grown used to the noise of loneliness. She worked in a small flower shop on the corner of Fifth and Rosewood, filling her days with bouquets for weddings she was never invited to and roses for anniversaries she never celebrated. To the world, Mia was cheerful, smiling as she wrapped petals in bright paper, but inside she carried an ache, a quiet longing for a life she wasn't sure she'd ever have. Across the city, Daniel Hale lived an entirely different existence. He was a rising architect, his days consumed with deadlines, towering buildings, and a career that left no space for his heart. He told himself that success was enough, that love was a distraction, but deep down, every award, every finished design felt hollow. He too was alone, though he'd never admit it aloud. Fate often hides in the smallest of moments, and for Mia and Daniel, it came on a rainy evening. The streets were slick with reflections of neon, people rushed with umbrellas, and thunder rolled in the distance. Mia, carrying a delivery of flowers, slipped as she crossed the street. The bouquet scattered across the pavement, petals soaking in the rain. From the other side, Daniel had been leaving a late meeting. Without thinking, he rushed forward, kneeling to gather the flowers before the traffic light changed. Their hands touched over a single rose. Time paused. She looked up, rain clinging to her lashes, and he saw a softness in her eyes that shook something loose inside him. "Thank you," she whispered, embarrassed. He smiled faintly. "These flowers deserve better than the pavement." She laughed, a sound so genuine it stayed with him even after she disappeared into the crowd. But fate was not finished. A week later, Daniel walked into her flower shop, though he didn't need flowers. He told himself it was coincidence, but in truth, he had searched for her. When she looked up from behind the counter, her surprise melted into a smile. The stranger from the rain. From that moment, their story began. They started with small conversations about flowers, about architecture, about dreams they were afraid to say aloud. Mia confessed that she loved writing, though she'd never shown her words to anyone. Daniel admitted that he feared, despite all his success, he was building towers with no meaning. The more they talked, the more the walls around their hearts began to crack. But love, real love, never comes without conflict. Daniel's life was built on precision and plans, while Mia's was rooted in simplicity and heart. He lived in skyscrapers, she found joy in gardens. Friends told Daniel she was a distraction, someone who would never understand his world. Mia's coworkers whispered that he was out of her league, a man too ambitious to ever stay. This city itself seemed to press against them, asking, how can two people so different ever last? But love, real love, has a way of silencing doubts. Every stolen moment between them became a reminder that happiness wasn't about matching lives. It was about finding the one person who made the noise of the world fade away. Their love grew stronger through trials. When Daniel lost a major project and questioned everything, Mia was the one who reminded him of his worth. When Mia's landlord evicted her from her tiny apartment, Daniel offered her a place to stay, not out of charity, but because he couldn't imagine his home without her presence. Slowly, their lives intertwined until it became impossible to picture one without the other. Still, suspense lingered. A rival architect, envious of Daniel's talent, threatened to ruin his career with lies. The pressure mounted, and Daniel nearly pushed Mia away, fearing she'd be dragged down with him. But Mia refused to leave. "Love isn't about staying only when it's easy," she told him, her voice firm. "It's about fighting, even when everything tries to pull us apart." Her strength became his anchor. And then, just when the weight of the city threatened to crush them both, they made a choice. Not a grand cinematic decision, but a quiet, powerful one. They chose each other. Not for a moment, not for convenience, but forever. Months turned into years. Daniel's career found new meaning, not in the tallest towers, but in spaces where people could gather, connect, and live. Mia published her first book of poems, her words inspired by the man who'd taught her that love could bloom even in the coldest corners of the city. Together they built a life, not perfect, not free of struggles, but filled with a happiness neither had thought possible. And on a bright spring morning, standing in the flower shop where it all began, Daniel placed a single rose in Mia's hand. "You were the stranger who became my whole world." Tears filled her eyes as she whispered back, "And you were the stranger who taught me what love really means." Their story was proof that even in a city full of millions, where people pass each other without a glance, fate can still bring two souls together. Two strangers who collided in the rain and found in each other an incredible, happy love story, one that would last a lifetime. Because sometimes the best love stories aren't about perfect people or perfect lives. They're about two strangers who dared to believe in something bigger than the world around them. They're about love that survives doubt, survives fear, and survives the noise of the world. Mia and Daniel's love was exactly that. The best kind of romantic story, born not out of perfection, but out of the courage to hold on.